Hello. So today I wanted to do an overview of my Westman Atelier collection and sort of how I store them. So I figured I would do this kind of vanity shot so you could see the items, and I also swatch them. I'm extremely fair, so I was hoping that this would give people some idea about what the colors would look like, especially if you're super fair like I am. I have like everything, I have like at least one thing from every category, so I figured that could also help. The things I would repurchase, the things I'm interested in other shades for, and the things I probably wouldn't repurchase. So I'm going to start with the first item that I got from Westman Atelier, which was the foundation. And I have mine in the shade Atelier N, which I believe is an exclusive to their website, and it's the lightest shade that they have. And that's what I have right across my knuckles right here. Hopefully we can see that well. And it's not a bad shade match for me. I've worn it a ton of times. I've worn it underneath powder products as sort of like a light, like tinted moisturizer. And what I've found with it is that it sort of settles into the pores around my nose, around my cheeks in not such a flattering way. Like it doesn't really matter if I have pore filling primer on. It's always kind of a strange way it sits on my pores, so I don't love it. And for the price, like I would not repurchase it, but I love that it's a clean foundation. And my alternative to this, what I always look for when I'm going back to like clean beauty, is I always go to Well Rested by Bare Minerals, and this is considered like an under eye brightening shade. Has a little bit of yellow in it, and for me this ends up being like a really good foundation shade because while my skin has a lot of pink in it, a little bit of yellow kind of counteracts some of the pinkness. So I would say like if you find this that it maybe settles in your pores weird, this is really an undetectable foundation for me, and I definitely love it and highly recommend it. So if you're looking for a clean product, that's my recommendation for that. But back to Westman Atelier. So if we go back to some more face products, we go to the bronzers next. And I would say one of my biggest like kind of letdowns with this was the Beauty Butter Powder Bronzer. Now this is like a really expensive bronzer, and I mean I have like the Tom Ford bronzers. This is like one of my most expensive per like how much you get. Now that is the shade right here on my first knuckle, and it's really dark. And next to that you kind of see like a shadow of a little bit of warmth, and that's the shade the Sculpt from the Charlotte Tilbury palette. So as you can see, the like Butter Beauty Bronzer from Westman Atelier is much darker for me, and it's just not a very flattering color. It's super warm and kind of obviously orange on me. I know other people it's probably a much better match, but for me that's something I would have definitely skipped. Now the other two items I have in the mini size that came in the holiday kits, and then I probably wouldn't have like gone out of my way to purchase any more bronzer shades from Westman Atelier. I'm just not a huge bronzer contour person in general based on my like skin tone, but these came in the holiday set, so I do have them. And what the first one you see there next to the bronzer, the powder bronzer, is Biscuit. And of all the bronzing products that I got from them, this is like by far my favorite. Biscuit is much more neutral, but on me, you know, it's definitely still kind of warm. But I can kind of get away with this very lightly in like the hollows of my cheeks. But again, I use it very sparingly. And I think that's sort of like my mantra with anything because I'm very fair. I can use most things, I just use it lightly. Then the other one is Truffle, and that's much warmer. I mean, of like all of these, this came in the set, so obviously I didn't get to choose. But if you have a deeper complexion, I'm sure that's much better for you. But that's very orange on my skin tone. Okay, so those are the bronzers, and then sort of how I store them in here is I just stack them all together. This is just an acrylic container, and I just took it out of the box so that I could kind of do this overview. So the next items that I have here is I have my highlighting sticks, and these are something that I love. So if like the bronzer complexion products were my favorite, these are definitely a favorite for me. So the first shade I have is Parla, and that is the one right here next to Truffle. I love this shade. This is very neutral, and I like, for me as a really fair person, that can be kind of like a dream product because it's not gold, and you know, usually when it's sort of this tone, it's usually much more leaning gold. So I love that this is very neutral. It's super beautiful. You know, when you lightly tap this on, it's like honestly undetectable. It does not have any like giant glitter. It's just super wearable. Then the other two, we have Nectar, which is the peachy one, and that's right there. And that is, again, like a very beautiful, very natural shade. And I just top this over top of like blushes as well because it just gives a little bit more of that peachy hue. I have blue eyes or blue-green eyes, and that's a really great color to kind of match back to my eyes and make everything pop. And then I have Lit. Now Lit looks super iridescently purple on my skin, but when I wear it lightly, it doesn't really have that. I like to put this sort of around my orbital bone. It looks really pretty. I think it's really like an elevated colored highlighter. And these are by far my favorite, like one of my favorite products from this line. I can't wait to try more of these as she gets more in the brand. Okay, so next we're gonna move on to the cheek products, and I have the super loaded, what is this, super loaded tinted highlights. I have two shades. I only don't have the bronze one because, let's face it, that's probably not a good option for me. But this is the Peau de Rosé, and then this is the Peau de Pêche, and I have these on my other hand. So there's the Peau de Pêche on the top, and then the Peau de Rosé. So I really like the formula of the Peau de Pêche, but it's a little bit of like a strange color for my cheeks. So I wear that as an eye topper, and I absolutely love it. It gives like anything I'm wearing, any eye shade I have, just a little bit of a peach hue, which again, with my blue eyes, it was super complimentary. I wear this super lightly, this one on top of my eyeshadow, and I only wear it on the lid, and I haven't had any issues with creasing. So I know it's like a really expensive eye topper, but I mean, it's a big size and it'll last forever, and the container's amazing. The Peau de Pêche, the Peau de Rosé, I was kind of disappointed with because it has, I don't know if you can see here, but it has like micro glitters that the Peau de Pêche does not, and I don't think it's as flattering. I do like the shade. I've worn it as a topper, but ends up kind of looking almost like it has like a cast to it that I don't love. So this is probably between the two. I would say the Peau de Pêche is really beautiful. If you're any deeper skin tone than me, that's probably like an amazing shade for like a blush on you. And then this one, I just don't like the glitter in it. So I would say like if you're kind of not a fan of glitter on your cheeks, this might not be the best option if you're looking for more of that like refined, luminous look. Okay, so those are those two shades. Then let's go on to the blushes. I have 4 blushes. I have 2 of the minis that came in the set, the holiday sets, and I really hope they do more those mini sets, especially next holiday season, because they're just such a great way to try more from the brand since they are expensive. I have 2 minis, and then I have 2 full size. So my 2 minis are Petal and Dodo or Dodo. Petal's the first one there, and I mean, I swatch these kind of heavy, but Petal is super wearable. I could see why that's like a go-to shade. It's like a really soft rose. It's really pretty. And then Dodo is actually like the one I like better between the two of them because it's got a little bit more of that berry tone to it. Super beautiful. Again, I just wear it lightly. There's Pop It, and I've actually worn this one. I got this one after I got the foundation. I've had it longer, and Pop It for me is one of those shades that I've been wearing with a lot of other blushes. So if I'm wearing like a really neutral blush, I will just pop the smallest amount of this like right sort of above the apple in line with like my pupil of my eye, and just to give a little bit of like a freshness to my look. And I just such a small amount of this, but it really does give you kind of that rosy child cheek look to it, and it's super pretty. And then the last one there is like the most sheeny, and I didn't really realize that it has a little bit of like a glittery finish to it, is Minette. But I wanted like a little bit of a peach shade that was also really light, and that one's really pretty. It just does have, just like Peau de Rosé, a little bit of a glittery finish to it. But between all of those, like I would say if I was going to get one more again, I would probably do Pop It, which I know seems crazy, but it's super versatile, and I wear it with so many different blushes that I have, and it works well over powder, which is hard to find sometimes with cream products. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I put these back in. So I stack these two right here, and then we've got all my cheek products. All right, so then we're going to go on to eyes, and I have 3 of the stacks. I have like the day one, the Nuit one, and then the new one that they have that has the green shades. I forget what those are all called, but I actually stack mine in how I like to wear them. So this is like what I consider my blue eye stack, and you have a shade here from Unfortunately, which is like a little bit frustrating, and I really hope at some point they let you kind of like create your own stack, because this is from the newest set, this is from the day set, this is from the night set, and it's unfortunate, but these are my favorite shades. So I'm going to go through each one of these for you. So the first shade is Bijou, then we have Tabac, and then we have Vin Rouge. Yep, so those are those, and I'm going to show you the swatches. So it's really hard to see Bijou on my wrist, but it's actually right here. It's like kind of at the top of my wrist, and it's like a very soft light peach, maybe just a couple of shades darker than my skin tone. And this is like a wash of peach that's super easy to wear and honestly like very flattering for my eyes. It just gives you a little bit of a glisten. And then right underneath that is Tobacco, and that's by far my favorite shade of all the shades that I have. It just gives you that kind of perfect, just orangey toned look that is great for blue eyes. And I honestly think that's what I wear with the Peau de Pêche over top of it, and it's like a perfect look. I mean, my eyes have got just look so blue when I wear it. Then the Vin Rouge. So the Vin Rouge, like on me, looks like it's a brown, but it's definitely like a red and brown, and also that looks amazing on my eye color. So for me, that's like my perfect combo. And what I do with Vin Rouge is I'll put that on first, just put a little bit of that on like my outer corner of my eye, put Tobacco all over, and then I'll put a little bit of the Bijou like up under my brow bone, and it's just such like an effortless eye. So I highly recommend those three. It's unfortunate to me that they're not like pick and choose because they're each in a different set at this point. Okay, so then the next two are Chocolat and what is the other one? It's Chocolat and Frappe. So those are like the next two that I have together. And Chocolat for me is a little bit more of like a warm brown. And then Frappe is a little bit more neutral. I like them both. Frappe has a little bit more depth to it. It's probably not showing here, but there's definitely a little bit more depth to Frappe. They're all very pretty though. I mean, if I was going to choose though, I'd go back to that Vin Rouge. I know that that's supposed to be like a really deep tone, but for me it ends up being like a red and brown, which is by far the most flattering for me. Okay, so then we're going to go into the two this is Bonne Chance and we have Noir. And that's these two right here. Bonne Chance is like this kind of a black and green on my eyes, and I've been wearing that as a liner underneath my eyes, and it's really pretty. I mean, I take a little smudge brush and smudge that under my eyes. And then Noir, I would say is like a black and gray. It's definitely not black. And I mean, it makes sense. It's sort of a smudgy gray shade that is really pretty, but you know, for me those are kind of less used. And then I have my two lightest shades, which honestly I don't know if they're going to show up for me, but this is Champagne and then Neige, and those are the two shades right here. I mean, so Champagne is like almost doesn't show up on me, and Neige is like a white, so you can see it a little bit better, but they're almost like undetectable on my skin tone. So if I would say like as far as shades go, I know right now Sephora has Frappe, or sorry, not Frappe, Tobacco as a single, and I would definitely pick that up. And then like my second would be Vin Rouge, and then you know, that's sort of how I would go. I wouldn't necessarily need all of them. I do like them, and I think the formula is super easy. It's sort of that all over, really nice, quick eye, and I just store them not by how they are, but how I use them. So this is like my most used, and then we go to Frappe and Chocolat, and then we go Bonne Chance and Noir, and then it's Champagne and Neige. That's sort of how I have them. So to round out the eyes, I do have the Westman Atelier mascara, and I don't love it. Like for the price point, I would not get it. My recommendation, I guess I should pull it out quick. My recommendation is if you want to try like a clean beauty mascara that's really pretty, I would do the Kiehr Weiss. This is what is this called? The Impossible mascara. This is much cheaper, and it's still expensive, but much cheaper than this one, and it gives you like perfectly separated lashes, super pretty, and really wears well. So this is my recommendation over this one. I think it's half the price of that one. I would not repurchase that. Okay, so let's get to lip products, and this would probably like after like highlighters, blushes, lips are probably my favorite part of the Westman Atelier line, and specifically this product right here is so beautiful. This is the Le Bordeaux lip suede, and these are just incredibly beautiful. They feel so luxurious. I just absolutely love the compact for this, and these are really my color story. I want to get the one that's reds. Even though I'm very fair, I really like plumbed lip products, because for me that's like very close to my natural lip shade. So even though it's usually like, if you think of like a darker complexion would have like more of this tone, for me this makes way more sense for my actual lip complexion. So let me show you these shades. So this is the top one. Then you have, and for me that ends up being like more raspberry. I know it looks red, in the like actual pan, but for me on my skin tone it ends up being more of a raspberry. Then you have that really neutral shade, which is like my least favorite, but I do like to mix it. And we've got that like really rich Bordeaux shade, and then there's sort of that berry shade. And for, like, I love mixing these, and as you can kind of see in here, I've been mixing the light shade with the Bordeaux. This is like an all over like kind of perfect my lips but better shade. And then the red that ends up looking sort of raspberry on me, I love using this as sort of a stain, and almost what happens on my skin here when I swatch them, I sort of blot it, and that's like a better look for me. I love how that looks. They last really well and they're super pretty. So I highly recommend those. And then the last two are the squeaky clean lip balms. And I really like these. These are really expensive lip balms. So I think they're really pretty. They feel like super luxurious when you wear them, and hold on to them. I have Garcon is the first one there, and that's like sort of this light dusty rose. And then the Puce, I'm not really sure how you say it. That's like that raspberry shade. They're all just like a kiss of color. I just wouldn't go with any. These are like the ones that appeal to me based on like what I like, but they're all very, very light. They feel great on the skin. I mean on the lips, and I really like that they're clean. So for me, lip balms that are clean are like my top choice. But if I was gonna pick another lip balm kind of product, what I'm gonna go to, and I have them right here, are these OG lip balms. And these are, I have so many of these at this point, but these are their, what do they call these? Sculpted lip oils. And I have a ton of shades in this. This is like Begonia. I highly recommend these if you are interested in like clean lip balms and you want to put them over anything that you have. I have a ton here, but I always go for like the darker shades in these, and then they are like a kiss of color. Like the one here, what is this? Viola. This one looks super like dark brown. It's just like a kiss of a brown shade. It's super pretty. These are so easy to wear, and they're like $20. So, or I think they're 22 maybe, but I would definitely get these over getting the Squeaky Clean. But Squeaky Clean are really nice, and the component is obviously superior to like almost anything on the market. All right, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, let me know.